Hey there everyone, it's Stefana Muller, your product manager for CA Service Virtualization on Demand. Today I am here to show you how to get past the step of signing up for your Service Virtualization on Demand instance and now actually how to log in and start using it. So as you saw in my last video, we went through the process of signing up through the marketplace and so on. I have that image actually deploying right now. It's not started yet, so since it's not started, I'm going to go to an existing image for us to go take a look at, and you can see how to start navigating through the CA Service Virtualization on Demand application. So first step is to click on your image once it's deployed, and that virtual machine opens up, or the configuration for the virtual machine will open up, and you can see that there's a bunch of different options here. If it's not started, just click the start button and it will start the system. You can restart, stop, delete, and all that fun stuff. Today we're going to click the connect button, and it's going to download an RDP session for us very quickly, and that'll help us get automatically connected. So I have my RDP session already logged in here, and I'm going to go and open it up for us. So once you use RDP to connect to that remote host, you can click continue past the certificate warning, and it will automatically log you into your system. Now just keep in mind, if you did set a username or password and did not add that to your RDP session, just add that information in so it can log in automatically. Otherwise, use the login and password you chose during setup. So now that we're in the virtual machine, this is the best part. You get to get access to the CA Service Virtualization on Demand product. There's a few things I'll show you first. We're going to do some navigating of the application. The first step is that there's two user interfaces. The first one is the more robust user interface. It's called Dev Test Workstation. I'm going to open it up here so you can take a look. As you can see, it prompts you to connect to a registry. That registry is already installed, so all you need to do is click OK. And just a note, for now we're going to use the username and password. It's admin. This is the default username and password, admin, and click login. And that'll open up the new Dev Test Workstation. And like I said, this is a more robust user interface, so you're going to see here a lot of functionality, all the way from web services, service virtualization, to MQ, to even mainframe. However, for the demo today, I'm going to focus on the easier, more lightweight user interface. So for us to do that, I'm going to have you minimize this UI and go into your Google Chrome browser over here on the left. Now that should be pre-installed in the system. If not, get it down there for yourself. And as you can see here, I haven't set anything up, but I'm going to just start typing in the URL. You have another user interface running on localhost here. It's localhost 1507/devtest. If you type in that URL and click enter, it will log right into the user interface. And I'm going to again log in with the same username and password, admin, and click login. I'll just save the password so the next time I don't have to do that. Now, as you can see here, this user interface is a little more modern. It has a lot of the basic features right there in front of you, so you know exactly where to start. The home screen here has some things that are quite interesting, like the getting started, quick links, and help at the top. You also have, your login and some preferences available to you. Everything is up and running for you. That's what, by default, everything was going to be up and running for you. What we will do now is actually get you started with navigating this application. So, as you probably learned in the previous videos, a virtual service is a stub or a mock with some smart business rules integrated. It's a longer lasting stub or mock that you can use as a way to simulate an environment for your testing of your application. And you could use this during development of your application, or during the typical test phase. Ideally, you'd be able to use this throughout the SDLC or software development lifecycle. There's a few different ways you can create a virtual service. What we're going to show today, I'll create a virtual service by virtualizing via a recording, or I have another one by virtualizing via RR pairs or request response pairs. Those are some simple ways to get started here. So I'm going to click Virtualize Website, and that opens up a screen to start the recording process. Now, the recording process is interesting. I'm actually going to move this over. This is another little tip for you. Take a look at this icon on the left top. If you click it, it will actually minimize the left navigation so you have more visibility on this screen. Just a note, and easier to start looking at everything on the screen here. As you can see, I have a few different things on this screen that may be a little confusing, so let's go through the details. The initial part is that these little items pop up to give you some navigation and some information, like where to find some hidden tools. This is telling us where the existing recordings are. If you had already started recording, you can actually click on the list and see them. Since we haven't done that, you don't have anything there. I'm going to actually close this out, and as you noticed, you want to remove all the help messages in the portal. You can click yes if they annoy you, or no if this is new to you and you want to be warned of other features that might be hidden. So I'm going to click no, and I'll continue. The first step in the recording process is to actually name the recording. So I'm going to actually use an application called Bank. It's actually called Lisa Bank. It's a banking application. It's going to be the application I'm using to test. And I'm going to start with calling this Lisa. Okay. As I type in, it checks to see that that name is not used before. Obviously, it wasn't on this machine because I've never done any recordings here. As you can see, I'm scrolling down a little bit. You can actually see some other features popping up with these messages. It tells you how to use SSL, gives you some idea of how to move forward. I'm actually going to get rid of all these help messages now since I'm navigating through with you. Some other things to note. How do you do a recording of a service so that you can make a virtual service? Well, it's an on-the-wire recording here. Your client is the system that's going to create the first call, like the request. The recorder is going to capture that request and then pass it through to your backend server. And then the server is going to respond, and that is going to send through to the recorder and then back to the client. And the recorder is capturing both the request and the response right on the wire. Once the recorder captures all those requests and responses, you'll be able to deploy that virtual service that is created out of those requests and responses and see it play back for you. So in the case that this back-end server is no longer in existence and not available, you'll be able to use the recorded virtual service as your back-end system. So the client can continue to work and develop and evolve while the back-end doesn't actually exist. Okay, enough of this little tutorial there. I'm going to go through a recording now. So in order to start the recording, you actually need to have an application to record the transactions through. Like we said, you need a client, you need a back-end service. Typically, it would be a web application. I'm going to show you an application that I have on my machine today. Matter of fact, it's out there for you to test against and use if you'd like. So let's go back to the desktop here on my virtual machine. This dev test demo server. If you start that up, it's going to pop open this terminal window, or command line rather, window, and it's going to show you, it's going to start up the demo server in the background. Let that continue up until the end when you see that it says started, okay, and let that continue until you see the started and the date and so on. I'm going to just minimize that screen and go and show you another place where to get the front end application. So what I just started was the back end application, that server end. Now I want you to start the front end application. Open up a window to get into your program files directory. Take a look. This is the navigation to that directory that you need to be in. C:\backslash, sorry, program files, CA, dev test, examples underscore SRC, and then you're going to go into the kiosk folder. So that's the location of my demo front end application. There you go. Lisa Financial, it's a banking app. So this is the front end application that's going to drive requests and responses to that back end application I started. So let's log into this application. This is a good way for you to get started here. The one thing you can do initially is I'm going to go and create a new account first. I'm going to create an account under my name. I'm going to give myself a lot of money, just to let you know. To create my user ID and password. It's going to be a very secure password there. Create a name for your checking account and a name for your savings account. Give yourself a balance, like I said. Lots of money for me here. I had some more zeros. Okay, and click submit. So I created that account name, and it tells me here's your savings account and so on. So it's a fully functioning application that lets you test out a bunch of different functionality here. You can do a new application or you can log in. So I'm going to actually log in. You click the little person button over here on the left, and you now select your name from the drop down, right, like we did. Mine was Stefana Muller. So I'm going to select my name and double click on the card to enter it in. Enter my very secure 1234 password and click the OK button. So as you can see, I'm logged into this new account. I can take a look at my checking account, the balance. Ooh, wow, that's a lot of money in my checking account. Great. Or I can take a look at, I can deposit money or withdraw or transfer and whatnot. So lots of stuff that you can do in this application. Obviously, demo app, so unfortunately it's not real. The best thing for you now is just to log out of that, and let's go and record the transactions that are happening between this front end application and the back end server that we started earlier. So let's go back to the recorder, which is in your browser. Let's see here, recording name is Lisa. That's all started here. A port is automatically selected that's available to you and not in use. So very helpful. You may override this if you need to, if you want to select a specific port in which your app is running on. Right now, I'm going to use this port 63094. And what that's going to help me do is that actually I'm going to point my front end kiosk to 530. Did I forget that one? Yeah. So to 63094. Let's go back there and do that. 63094. Okay. And we saw that that was running on localhost, right? And it was pointing to localhost 8080. Oh, 8080. There we go. And that's going to actually point to my back-end server. So what did I just do? I took the client, which is that front-end kiosk. I pointed it to 63094, that port, which then is pointing to this localhost 8080, which is my back-end server that I had started. This is the back-end server here in case we forgot. Right here, the back-end demo server is running on port 8080. Okay, let's move that back down to the bottom of our screen. All right, so now I've got the recorder set up. I've got front end pointing to recorder, recorder pointing to back end pointing back to recorder, la la la. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to click the start recording button. Like you said, it's not going to do anything until you start hitting some transactions from that front end client here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to open up the kiosk here and I'm going to log in, right? Stefana Muller is selected. I'm going to log in with my very secure password. I click and it logged me in. Perfect. So now I'm logged in. Did you notice a few things happening in the background here? Do you see that transaction count go up to 2? So it captured my login process. And now I'm going to click the checking account and I'm going to check the balance. Oh, $1 million. Great. Let's go back and let's give me some more money. I'm going to actually deposit some modest amounts of money, $10. And I'm going to go back to another transaction and I'm going to deposit $20. I'm going to do one more transaction here. I'm going to do a withdrawal of $100 because, I need to pay the bills here. All right, last transaction I'm going to do is a quick transfer of $40 to my savings account, and that happened perfectly. I'm going to click all done now. As you can see, I exercised pretty much most of the stuff on the right side of this application. Remember that for later in the demo so that you can see why I did it that way. 8 transactions were captured. I'm going to go back over to my recorder now and take a look at those transactions. You can see that they're probably not greatly described, but they're all posts. So let's go back to this stop recording and let's take a look at the transactions that were captured. Well, the next step to do that is clicking the next button or this button up here to the configure stage. And here you can see, this is where I can see more detail about the transactions that were captured. First things first, in order for our virtual service environment to translate what it captured, it needs to know what protocol was there. And the fun part about it is it automatically detects some protocols for you. As you can see, web services was automatically detected here. I'm going to say, yep, I agree, that was web services, and click Update Transaction View so I can see them in a more clear way. Perfect. This looks much better, right? You see a list users. I could probably take a look at the request data here. I can take a look at the response data. It gives you pretty much everything that was captured in the transaction. Get new token. You have a deposit money. Remember the 2 deposit monies? Let's take a look at the request data here. And the response data. Let's take a look at the arguments. Remember, we deposited $10 and then we deposited 20. Okay, good stuff, right? Well, I think this looks pretty good for me to go and play this back. I'm going to click continue here at the bottom and the next button. And I have some options. Now, first things first, there's some demo bank apps here that you can projects that you can use to save your bank in. I'm going to save it in Bank V6. And I'm also going to save and deploy the virtual service so that I can use it right away. You have some options here, like I said, concurrent capacity, think time scale, and things like that. I'm going to make it simple and just save and deploy that virtual service. Okay, it says virtual service Lisa was created, right? It was saved into Bank V6 and it's deployed also in the VSC server called VSE. So where is that VSE server? Well, there's another server that you have to go to, and that is another browser window open. Type in localhost 1505. And it logs you to the dev test console. Now this is more of an administrative view of the system that you're working with. It's showing you the server that's running your virtual service. Again, default password is admin, or username is admin, and password is admin, A-D-M-I-N. Click login, and it will log you into this server console. So I want to click on the thing on the bottom here. And now that I'm in the server console, I can actually see a few different things. One, I wanted to point out to you that the administration at the bottom here, it shows you the access control. You can actually change your password down here. So you can create new users and change passwords in this administration panel. As you can see here, the default information is the super user as admin. You can actually change that and so on. We're not going to go through that right now. That's more for the configuration. For now, let's go back to the network, the dev test network, and you can see here the VSC is running, or virtual service environment is running. I'm going to click on it on my left nav, and it's opening up on my right side. And this shows you the new virtual service that I deployed. Now remember, it's been running for about a minute now, and I'm going to go back down to my bottom of my screen and take a look at that kiosk. So, kiosk is here, backend service. Do you remember when that backend service was running out on the terminal window? Here, let's go in there. I'm going to cancel this backend server. I'm going to say, hey, the backend server is no longer available. I want to point just to my virtual service. So if I close it out, it's gone. They blew it away. There's no more backend service. So really everything that I do on this Lisa kiosk here is going to either fail because the backend service isn't there, or it's going to point to that virtual service. Let's check our port again. Like if I go back to 8080, let's see it fail. It fails. Why is that? Well, that backend service, I just blew it away. It's not working. So what do I have to do? I have to go to the port 63094. So I'm going to point to the virtual service 63094. Click OK. Go back to the beginning. Log in again. Click OK. And as you can see over here, my transaction count in my back of my screen just went up to 2. So you can see now that I am transacting with the virtual service. Let's go back to that screen over here on kiosk and see what else we can do. Can I go into the checking account? Yeah, I'm sure I can do a balance because we did the balance before and it works. It's playing back pretty nicely here. Let me do a few things that I did before. I withdrew $10. Let's see if it works. Perfect. I'm going to do one more transaction. I'm going to deposit my $20. Perfect. My favorite part is that it remembered the date and timestamp. It added 3 days to my initial deposit. So that's kind of cool that it remembered that business rule. I'll do another transaction. Now, do we remember depositing $100 or $50? No, we didn't do that in the last time, but I'm going to try it out and see if my virtual service is smart enough to figure out that $50 or the dollar amount is a variable. So if I click $50, guess what? It returns $50 to me. So the request was 50 and return 50. Obviously, it also learned that date and timestamp differential. It's pretty cool, right? You didn't have to mock out every single request and response. It is smart enough to determine where the request and response should be. Now, just to prove it to you, do you remember we did not do a statement before? We only did transactions on the right side when we were recording before. So I'm going to click statement and it's giving me an error. It says, hey, I don't know what to respond there because I've never seen that argument before. So that makes sense, right? We shouldn't be able to do a statement if I never recorded that. I'm going to click back. I can do the deposit again. I can do a deposit of $40. Again, it knows that as a variable. I'm going to click all done so that we can take a look at something in the back end. So now you know your virtual service works, your front end can continue. What if I wanted to go and take a look at what happened in here? So I can actually take a look at some of the details down here. I also have the ability to look at some of the information in the back end. I'm going to actually open that virtual service and take a look at the transactions that were initially recorded to see what's in there. Go to your home button back in your DevTest portal and click the Manage Virtual Services. And you should be able to see Lisa at the bottom. I'm actually going to make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. There we go. Virtual services and Lisa's at the bottom. So that's the virtual service we just created. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to minimize my little menu here so I can see some more. You remember all that stuff we recorded before? The get new token, the username and password. Here you go, request on the left, response on the right. Now the fun part is that variable response. We call those magic strings. On the left here, it's the deposit money. You have the deposit of $10 and a deposit of $20. And the cool part is that our system, the virtual service environment, automatically detected this as a magic string or a variable. And we use that with curly brackets here. You see these double curly brackets equals request amount. You can use the variable right in here. What else can you see? The account ID is a variable name. And then we also have a variable around the date that should respond. Remember, we said we could do a do delta date from current. So what that means is take the current date and delta 2 days, 23 hours, 57 minutes, and 12 seconds, right? That's what was captured. Now I can change this to 5 days if I wanted to. So let's just change that to 5 days. $20 is deposited. The response is going to be 5 days. Okay, and 12 seconds. Let's just make that easy. Okay, so let's save this off. It's automatically saved, and I'm going to actually redeploy this virtual service now. And I'm going to try it out one more time to see if I can get it to respond with depositing $20 is going to take 5 days. So this is how you mock out varied responses. You can even mock out negative results, like an error message every time they deposit $20. And this, again, this is the power of a virtual service. So in order to redeploy that virtual service after I changed it, I'm going to go in and right-click here and click Deploy. And it says, hey, do you want to deploy it out to the VSE? And I'm going to say yes, and it will deploy over the existing one that's out there today. So it's deployed successfully. I'm going to go back to the console. And look, you can see that the uptime's only been 3 or 4 seconds and the transaction count got reset. That is my new virtual service. So let's go back into the kiosk here. Okay, kiosk, I want to log in. Oh, I want to make sure first that I'm pointing to the virtual service. I am. I want to log in. I want to go in my checking account and I want to deposit $20. Did you see that the date came back 5 days later? So instead of October 12th like it was before, it's now October 15th. So I proved it to you, right? You can mock out a virtual service. You have some demo applications available to you out on this new VM that you just deployed. Take a look at it. You have about 30 days to test this out for free. It's a great way to try to mock out a few things. And take a look at the next video for how to create a virtual service using request response pairs or how to record a website. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great day.